How y'all today? Otho Gold just wants you to know that he has great respect for law enforcement. You know, I love cops, but they're just people like everyone else, and sometimes they do some boneheaded things. Now, some of you may disagree, but I've seen it, and I've talked to cops, and they've shared stories with me before. I was talking with a group of cops the other day down at the breakfast place that I go to from time to time, and he was telling me that one of the officers had found a perfect place for watching for speeding violations. And one day the officer was amazed that everyone was under the speed limit. So he investigated and found the problem. A 10-year-old boy was standing on the side of the road with a huge hand-painted sign which said, "Radar trap ahead." A little more investigative work led the officer to the boy's accomplice, another kid about 100 yards beyond the radar trap with a sign reading "Tips" and a bucket at his feet full of change. Now, Otho's going to share some of the stories he heard as he was sitting around this group of cops. You gotta love them now, no disrespect intended. Now, we all know that cops like pastries, donuts in particular. But when you see someone pulling over a Dunkin' Donut truck, you got to wonder about the motives for the stop.
Go ahead, officers on the scene.
And you know, cops do warn us about safety measures in troubled neighborhoods. But sometimes they don't pay attention to their own warnings, and you know, they'll park in areas that are troubled and leave their car unattended with unanticipated consequences.
I need transport.
Oh, and I love the warnings about security in our homes. You know, sometimes cops don't practice what they preach with their own facilities. Oh, and being very careful on busy streets. We hear that all the time. Like chasing a chicken across the boulevard. Come on!
Officers in need of assistance.
And we know that life for a cop can be very tiresome. But, you know, lounging around in a public park on a bench, you just think about the optics of that. We hear a lot about the stops that cops make for drunk driving and suspicious circumstances, but you know, when they stop kids who are driving their little play cars,
get down to the ground,
or illegal aliens, you know, we have to just kind of pause and think about what's really happening.
Suspect is in custody.
Now, we know cops tend to be well trained, but sometimes when they're showing off, things do happen that, you know, may cause us to pause and wonder, you know, why are you doing that?
we've got the building surrounded.
And cops do try to be tricky with their speed traps, but citizens rebel sometimes. They resist. Sometimes cops become a little too aggressive when they're chasing others.
Officers in need of assistance.
And they may have a tendency to ignore signs that block off construction areas.
Officers in need of assistance.
And their tactics in approaching others and other life forms in dangerous situations may be questionable,
Be advised, the suspect is armed and considered extremely
which
dangerous.
can lead some citizens to wonder whether or not they have an opportunity just to take off and avoid apprehension.
Freeze!
The suspect is in custody.
And admirably, cops are always there to back one another up in dangerous situations like stick-ups.
Go ahead. Officer in need of assistance from animal control.
Y'all have a great day, and let's support our law enforcement officials everywhere.